Welcome to our viewers. I'm David Sarnoff, founder of the National Broadcasting Company and tonight's host. In case you didn't know, I'm a very accomplished reporter. I was the only one who worked with the press in order to release information about the Titanic. I was the president of the Radio Corporation of America for many years, and I am now currently the founder of NBC News. But that's enough about my career, for now. Tonight, I have the privilege to sit down with a very special guest. Please put your hands together for novelist, essayist, screenwriter, Mr. F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Thank you. It's great to be here, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
It's really great to have you here, Mr. Fitzgerald.
It's great to be here.
I'd love to start with something personal, if that's okay.
Absolutely, I'm here for you.
So you said that, especially in your early years, you struggled with alcoholism. Being so early on in your life, how did that impact your career and your future?
Well, to be quite honest with you, my alcoholism was a way for me to cope with my problems, to get through the day. My problems actually started at my early days at Princeton University. I don't know if you knew that I went there or not. But as I got older, I found this mechanism of alcoholism was still a way for me to cope and battle my severe depression. That being said, there is a happy ending to this story, because I am now completely sober. And no thanks to AA, might I add. I personally believe that willpower is the best way to get through any of your alcoholism problems.
That's a very, very touching and interesting story, Mr. Fitzgerald. And through this whole time, since your battle with your alcoholism, you stand by the fact that you've been able to remain completely sober?
Absolutely. It is my personal will that actually got me through the whole situation.
That's very interesting. Now, Mr. Fitzgerald, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to look through some footage that we've taken just hours prior to this interview.
Let's look at it.
I see you weren't aware that we were recording, Mr. Fitzgerald, but I take it that this sobriety just isn't lasting as long as you claim. In fact, this footage was just taken of you hours before here, right outside of our newsroom. But to give you just a minute to compose yourself, we'll take a quick commercial break.
David Sarnoff is a cheat. Although he said he was the sole person to intercept the distress call from the Titanic as it was tragically sinking, Sarnoff was not alone. While he was leading a news crew, they intercepted the transmission from the Titanic through their collective work. Don't let a man, who built his reputation on lies, tell you his biased version of the news.
And we're back. But now that we've discussed your personal life, let's take a turn to the recent novel you've written, The Great Gatsby. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this story centers around New York in the 1920s and its aristocratic lifestyle, correct?
Yes, it's about a young man by the name of Jay Gatsby, who comes from incredibly humble beginnings, enters the military, and then becomes incredibly wealthy through bootlegging. And this is all to impress the girl of his dreams, Daisy, who would not marry him because he was so poor.
And this story, between Gatsby and Daisy, of course, it closely follows and parallels the love story of you and your darling wife, Zelda, correct?
I'm very impressed you picked up on that. That is absolutely correct. Like Gatsby, I was a member of the military, and furthermore, Zelda would not marry me until I was able to provide for our family, and rightfully so.
Ah yes, providing for your family. Now that is something I can definitely relate to. Early on in my life, I wanted to become a rabbi and get ordained, and my parents even sent me off to Talmud school for 5 years before I immigrated to the United States in 1905 from Belarus. This was all because, like your heroic story, I needed to be the hero for my family and be able to provide. But Mr. Fitzgerald, as a final question, what inspired you to become an author?
Well, with Zelda's and my excessive lifestyle, I unfortunately have to write as my family's main source of income. That being said, I also adore and love writing, and my ultimate dream is to become the most famous writer in the world. And while The Great Gatsby has not been incredibly successful thus far, I have no doubt it will be.
Well, success is a very important virtue. It is clear that you are a very hard worker in your field, just as I am in mine. If you didn't know, I helped mainstream radio programs throughout the country, and I'm currently working to produce an at-home television set in order to mainstream television news as well. Well, folks, that's all the time we have today. I want to thank Mr. Fitzgerald for meeting with me tonight so I could properly relay his story to all of you. Thank you all for listening, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.